Ignacio Gallo Campos is the founder and director general of Escuela de Actividades Naturales. After working for almost 15 years in international business and the corporate tech world, Ignacio decided it was time to choose a different path. Now based in Madrid, Ignacio created an organization and a business whose mission it is to bring people closer to nature, to reconnect people with the natural world, and ultimately to show people another way to live. Welcome, Ignacio.
Thank you, Connor. Absolutely perfectly described. Yes, indeed.
Very good. So tell me, where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Vigo, Galicia, which is the western northern part of Spain. And when I was 5 years old, my father was moved to Madrid. He was a human resources director of Carrefour for Spain and Portugal. And then, I lived most of my life in Madrid, apart from Scotland. Afterwards, I lived 1 year in Scotland, in Edinburgh. Then I lived 1 year in Oxford, another 1 year before that in New Delhi, India. And also, when I met you, Connor, I was living also almost 3 years in Dublin. Apart from, lastly, I'm living between Madrid and Girona, which is on the northern east part of Spain, bordering France.
And tell me, how would you describe your childhood?
My childhood was lovely. I'm an adopted person. So my parents adopted me when I was 4 days. So they picked me in Madrid and they took me to Vigo, to Galicia. So they always explained me when I was very young, the adoption, what it meant for them, what it meant for me, that they, of course, desired me most than everything. Everything has flown really normal. I don't have any problem in telling this as it is. I was lately even recalling my life for, I have more free time now to stop and think and envision things now, before, past, and future. So I'm grateful for the childhood that I had. My parents were always teaching me. I remember one sentence from my father. He educated me and my sister in think always about the others before than yourself. So this has reigned during all my life, in all my relationships with people that I know, that I don't know, my friends, passengers like me. Sorry.
No, okay. And did you have a childhood that was steeped and rooted in nature and activities in the outdoors?
Well, when I was living in Galicia, yes, because that's a very wild place in which forest and seasides and are present in your daily life. Apart that I was living in Vigo, which is the main city there, but every weekend or every free time that we had, we were walking in the harbor or walking by the beach or going to the mountains. Yes, but I think what I have linked me, what it links me to the nature, it's much more in my DNA, because when we moved to Madrid, when I was 5 years old, all my hobbies were to lift small rocks that were in the ground and looking for hours what the microscope level life that was there inside. So I was looking through small worms, ants, and insects, spiders, and I was always curious on what was going on there, like what was the life in those small beings. So, and my best Christmas present were a series of books from a naturalogist from Spain, who was working throughout all the planet, and he was collecting different environments, natural environments, like, for example, small ponds the life of a small ponds, and then you would have there all the different organisms, plants, ecosystems, and animals that live there, fishes, everything. And what was intriguing me the most, and up to today, was the way of living of them. And I always felt that the nature has been always in a perfect line of action, which is not reigned by ego or different feelings that we humans have, which usually sometimes are not really into life, into the living the moment, living the present without worrying about what is going to happen tomorrow, things like that. So it's kind of a freedom from concern life that intrigued me the most about nature.
And do you think, would you not have considered a career in biology? Or
Yes. I was considering that when I was forever. But when the moment came that I had to choose what to do, I wanted to do biology or marine biology. But my parents, the places where I could do that, of course, Madrid was one of them, but the one that I really wanted to do was underwater one, biologist. And I had to move to, again, Vigo or another city where these studies were available. And I got scared because my parents told me that they would not be helping me, which meant, of course, paying money for me to live there. So I should find the job at 18 and then combine the job with the studies. So I decided, in fact, my parents told me, why don't you leave nature for your hobby during weekends and free time? And then you do something that makes you earn this safe money and, have a life of hobbies than focusing everything on that.
Okay, so you put your passion to one side and you didn't follow in terms of your career, but ultimately you ended up back there. So
Yes.
we'll get to how we end up there. But so you went into what did you study in university again?
I did economics, specialized in international finance, and I did an MBA as well. I was granted to do a couple of good masters that took a couple of years. So I started working in Spain in different companies, industrial companies. One of them was doing plastics. And I got into a program of development that started from the very first things on, in the understanding plastics, cutting them, selling them in small shops to business people and also particulars. And from there you could gain quick experience to start leading small teams afterwards. Like you could become a sales leader for sales, or you could become an account manager for industry, in different regions of Spain. Then prior to that, I was living in Edinburgh for 1 year after finishing the studies, which I finished them in 4 years and a half, economics. And then I took a kind of Erasmus, not Erasmus, but when I finished this, I just went to live 1 year alone in Edinburgh, in which I was working in a 24/7, shop, which were selling newspapers and food and, this kind of Pakistani place. And I was working from Mondays to Sundays, no single day off for 1 year. Then after this, I came back to Spain.
Is that
and
legal?
Then it was below the legal. Yeah, no, it was no legal. In fact, I was earning £4 an hour when the minimum salary was £5 per hour, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
7 days a week. So you didn't take one single day off in an entire year.
No, yes, I just got 3 days that finally my boss gave me, and I went to the Highlands. Yes, but 3 days in 1 year. not even weekends. And my schedule was from 10 to 7 every day. And Saturday and Sunday, I was working from 6 to 9 and from 11 to 7. So I had 2 hours per hour there that I went back home, had a small nap, come back to work.
And what did your parents think of this lifestyle, this situation?
Well, I've been always a person that likes to challenge myself and understand the meaning of the value of, it's not the money, but gaining your life, basically. So this was kind of a test for myself. I started working as well when I was 16. My father, who, by the way, I didn't tell you, but my father, when he was 50, he was diagnosed with a very rare sickness, and he was put out of work. So he was prostrated into a sofa for the rest of his life. He died with 65 years old. And when he died, the doctor asked me if he was 89 years old. Oh, is your father 89 or 90, something like that? So anyways, when I was 16, my father was already sick in the sofa, but as he was the director of human resources of Carrefour, he asked me in the summertime when I had finished the studies, he asked me, hey, would you like to know what it means to gain your own money? And I said, of course, yes, I want. So he took me, well, we went together to Carrefour, one of the main places in Spain, in Madrid. And yeah, I had a conversation with the human resources director, and he asked me, when do you want to start? And I said, tomorrow. So then just the next day I was working there with 16 years old. So this from then on was kind of my way to prove myself and my family that I was able, of course, to make money.
Do you think that your father's illness had something to do with his occupation?
Of course, absolutely. In fact, I know exactly what happened. So there was a discussion between the CEO of the company and 2 other big directors there. And my father exposed in front of the CEO with these 2 other people, hey, come on, guys, now tell this guy what you were telling me before about him or about this or that. So that generated a big discussion, ended up with my father put into a very bad position. So then they started to make his life quite difficult, and then finally ended up my father being left out.
So the stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. The stress attacked him and destroyed him. Yes.
So you see where I'm going with this now, right?
Yes.
Yes. So then you move into the industrial world, the world of business, the world of technology, and you work for 15 years. You build up your career, you're managing teams, you're sales manager, you're doing all this other stuff. And then you decide to leave and choose it and go in a totally different direction.
Yes.
What are your thoughts and what did you learn from those 15 years? If you can crystallize them, if you can think about them, on it.
Well, I learned, or I applied what my father told me about think before the others than yourself. I was always trying to add some value in the interactions that I had. I was clearly seeing that the system was designed to just make profit and growth and continuous pressure on people, regardless emotions, regardless how you were feeling. That didn't matter at all, or it mattered very poorly. And I was always trying to lead others by example, taking care of the person that I was selling something to. Meaning I would like to create a relationship between this person and myself, or this company and myself. And yeah, I think that was always a good positive example to the others. Also because the sales were coming even. I was always reaching the targets, reaching the objectives, but more happily than some other people that were thinking just in themselves and making things whatever cost it meant. So I think that what I learned in these 15 years that it was that you could make your small difference, a positive difference in the corporate world by leading by example, and bringing always humanity in bringing it to the place that it should be. So I was always reading and preparing presentations to show other people how to do this and how to reading books and, incorporating, adding knowledge to myself and putting in practice this knowledge. And I learned a lot about other people as well, because as I was getting into more into deeper relationships with them, I was able to put in place talking about things that not other people were talking with them. So I learned that many people were really burned out in these places they were holding to this salary, and many of them had broken dreams. So that's why I decided to start. What the first thing that I started was the fishing school of Madrid, which is Madrid Escuela de Pesca Madrid, which has been active in the website and everything for 10 years already. And this was the first thing that I launched whilst I was still working, and I were able to do it in my spare time. So I was able to, while working, creating something of value to the people, for myself, for the planet, because of course fishing is not the most, it has some impact on the fish, of course, when you fish it, but I was teaching people how to make the minimum damage to the fish, and also to respect it as in the maximum possibility, and to start loving this relationship with the fish, with the nature, and everything. So, yeah.
So you're in work, right? You've done your 15 years in the corporate tech world. You can see the effect it's having on people.
Yes.
And you understand how the system functions. Some people can handle it really well. Some people are rising up the status hierarchy and can exist within the system and work within the system and do incredibly well. But some people don't. While you're in work, you come up with this idea, the fishing school. What were the first steps you took, right? Did you build a website? In terms of tips and hints, how did you start that journey?
Of course, I did many things. I was always thinking about this idea. I saw an opportunity because throughout my life, when I had spare time, I was fishing myself, and I was taking some people to nature and teaching them how to fish, and I was seeing the impact this was having in them and in myself. And I saw the possibility of people willing to pay me for teaching them what I knew. And I decided to create a website. Firstly, I put it in the hands of someone who knew how to develop one website. But I created the website, and I started to learn how to, manage different aspects of the website to make it more visible and to reach more people. And then I started getting the first. No, I'm not calling them clients. I'm calling them participants. It's a way to, create something different.
So did they find your website online and reach out to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They started seeing my website and reaching to me through a questionnaire that I had, email and phone calls. Yes.
So now you have the website. Now, did you go online, say, for example, do Facebook ads, do social ads, do all that kind of stuff to help find the participants?
No, for the first 8 years, I never did anything related to paying adverts or something like that. Nothing. No. And it was growing organically.
Right.
It's a word of mouth, or I don't know how to call it in English. And
right.
also reputation. Now, of course, the reviews being on Google Maps, having reviews there. And yeah, using the tag words in your website that helps people find what you do.
Okay. So that's interesting. So step number one is create the website. It seems so very obvious, but it gives people an opportunity to research you, to study you, to figure out what you're doing. And if it's well put together, they'll contact you. So what do? You have a bus and you take people out to nature, or people meet you in nature? What does that look like?
So firstly, I thought it would be a great idea to get a van and collect people from Madrid and then taking them there. But this is a slow growing market, which it goes slow because there are not many options out there, and it's a very niche market, which is growing slowly because people are getting more interested in nature and fishing and all this stuff. So finally, I decided it was not it. So okay, how to explain it? So I had clear in my mind that I wanted to create something which the costs of maintenance were the minimum. So people are happy to just get their cars or get the whatever and go there. It's been small times where I was collecting someone who was not having transportation options, and I was collecting them in one point. But let's say 95% of the times people get themselves to the place. Yeah.
So basically your business and the product that you're selling is essentially your knowledge of nature, your ability to fish, and you take them on an experience into nature. So that's the business. How many years ago was that set up?
The first one, because I have 3 websites. So the Fishing School Madrid, it started 10 years ago. And then I created the School of Natural Activities. Sorry. I created secondly the School of Fishing School Girona, because I was living in Girona for the last 3 years. So I created that school as well. And then I decided to leave everything, to quit from the corporate world, to save some money up, and then create the third website, which would meant like the main umbrella of natural activities, including fishing, but adding some other excursions aimed to provide with basic knowledge of wild plants, their medicinal properties, how to interact with them, also knowledge of local fauna, animals that live there, the ecosystem. Basically, what I was reading in the books, bringing them to the people in their own lands and locally. So you could say it's been already 2 years since I focused 100% in this, in nature, because before I was having a job.
Yeah. So you'd saved up some money. So now what people are wondering, and I suspect what a lot of people are wondering, they want to become solopreneurs, they want to become entrepreneurs. It's when they cut, when they step away from the corporate world, when they cut off that monthly salary, the security of the monthly salary, and go out on their own. Like that's the big fear I suspect that people have, and getting the timing wrong can be very, very damaging. How did you choose the timing, and how did you overcome that fear?
That's a great question. I guess it's a phased move. Okay. So first, you have to think about this every single day. Secondly, I would recommend people to study how they can do this. Study what are the options, study how is the market, how it goes, create a small website, put in that like in a prototype. Don't leave their jobs for doing this. So keep the job, doing it on a side project. So dedicating a couple of hours a day or whatever you want. And if you keep having this desire of doing it, start testing it with some people, firstly for free, or firstly with a small rate. Then when you feel and see that you are really adding value and getting the first testimonials, you can decide how to go next and how to grow it. And for that, you have many options, like advertising, investing some money. Without investing money, you cannot do anything, basically. Investing your money and your time. So those are two main pillars, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to just quit their jobs and launch themselves into doing something from the scratch without having any prototype first. So that's my first tip. Working on a side project, working for 1 year, putting into the market, seeing the response, getting first testimonials, grow your website with enriching it with content and testimonials. Of course, using the social networks that are looked by many people every day, and also going to fairs, going to events, going to network events that are related to what you do, and what associate with a lot of people as well. One of the biggest tips I can give to the people as well is not being afraid to tell what they do and how they do it to the very last detail, without the fear of, someone is going to rob my idea, is going to steal it. That just will make you being a loser. And also, don't be afraid of working or doing anything that is already invented, because there are many ways of creating blue oceans from the scratch. By the way, I'm reading this book now, which is called in English, The Strategy of the Blue Ocean. More than 3 million books sold. And it's not an unusual marketing book. Is getting many success cases of people that created blue oceans from the scratch.
What does the concept mean, blue ocean? What is the concept?
The concept of the blue ocean is creating something which makes your competence or your competitors irrelevant.
That's a pretty ambitious.
It's not.
No.
It's not, because it's based in mainly two things: having a very low cost strategy, so creating something which you are not investing a lot of money, and which can be sustained throughout the time, and also putting the customer or the participant or whoever you want to call it in the center of what you do, by bringing them much more value than the others are giving them. So the blue ocean strategy is aimed to get two things. One is making your competitors irrelevant, and the other one is having a very low structure of costs. How can you make your competitors irrelevant? Is by putting the focus on how you can add more value to any service or product that is out there. And in my case, there was not even many competitors in my sector. So what I was looking at was an opportunity which was related with nature and entertainment, outdoors entertainment, which are very low number of companies out there, and the market is growing. And unfortunately or not, even the pandemic came, and that put much more in the principal play nature. People were more willing to go to nature to experience it in a much more deeper way, which means getting knowledge from what they live in. So about plants, about many things. So how to interact with nature, how to interact with themselves, and by itself, the nature is providing a lot of value to people. So if you are able to convert that into understandable knowledge and entertainment, which is easy to put in place and easy to explain and easy to do, people get immediate value from that, mainly because we have been so linked to nature throughout the last 350 million years that even people that are reluctant to come to doing these kind of activities, in the very first second that you are explaining them what is this plant, what it does for you, what it does for your health, what this experience is going to bring you, and they start interacting, touching, smelling, trying some wild plants or knowing how to fish, it puts them immediately into what their essence is. And there are not many people out there doing this. And the ones that are doing it, they are not even offering this kind of experience. And how can you know that? Asking them, hey, have you gone through anything like this before? Tell me, what do you feel by doing this? Can you give me a review? And they put out their words that are just amazing.
And there's also a spiritual aspect to it as well. So you have the physical, the plants, the flora and the fauna. You're educating them, but there is a kind of a deep, almost holistic, spiritual thing of getting to know these plants.
Absolutely.
Getting to know the environment that you inhabit, which must be incredibly rewarding and fulfilling for people. So who are your ideal clients? How did you identify? Is it IT workers? Is it tech workers? Is it office workers? Is it mom and pop? How did you figure out who your clients were?
So they are presenting themselves to me just by me being out there, which means I'm doing not much effort in being known. Of course, I'm doing videos in YouTube. I have a channel there where I show what I'm doing, which grows organically. I guess it's being out there, being out there in the streets, being out there in companies, of course, presenting what I'm doing, being in network events, being everywhere that you can. And my ideal client is everyone. Every company, every person in this planet would be a perfect client. Yeah. Anyone.
And in terms of, say, so do you have plans to scale the business? What would you, how does that look?
No. Well, yes and no. Of course, I have plans to scale the business. This year I'm going to present, I'm already cold calling schools, private schools in Madrid or in Barcelona, and presenting what we do and trying to educate their pupils. Okay. So that's one plan. My only plan is to implement this in such a way that I'm going to be able to impact in more people at the minimum time. The sooner the better. How can I make this? Reaching to places where there are many people involved. So that means companies. I'm cold calling companies. I'm reaching human resources directors. I'm reaching people that make decisions. And it could be a school or a company that shows interest in sustainability, but it could be one that is not showing any interest in sustainability as well, or in nature, because basically that's what it makes a huge difference to them. So having someone who is going to teach them and to show them nature in much different way than they know. So it's a very wide audience that I'm going to.
And do you think is there a team building aspect to it as well? So if you're pitching and you're presenting to
I call, when I send an email to a company, or usually to a company, I call it team building natural activities. Yes.
Okay, so this is a good tip as well, right? So you started a business, you have the website, you're taking people out, you're approaching companies from the point of view that this is a team building opportunity for your sales teams, for your IT team to do something slightly differently. Yes. And you can take them back to nature. Okay, that's really good, but that's also scalable. Have you thought about doing it online? Is there a way you could do it online, because everything is going online, right?
It is a way, and I was trying it during the pandemic. What I was creating was a small how do you call it in English where you grow plants, hort? Well, I was having small buckets of plants, wild plants that I was taking
pots,
from nature.
Pots. Yeah.
Pots, yes. So the idea was for 7 to 8 euros a session of 1 hour, having 5 to 7 people online, and I was firstly developing a series of general knowledge about wild plants and natural medicine, how to interact with nature differently, and so on. And where they could find the different plants that I was going to show them. I was going to show them the plant. I was going to teach them the different properties that you could take from them, how to use it, how to relate with them as well, because the wild plants are alive, and they have also kind of feelings as well, so intelligence also. So I was going to do that, but was not for doing that. Yes, it's necessary that you spend some money in campaigns like ads in the social networks. Yes, and I did it for a couple of times, but it was not succeeding much. So I've been asked by even some institutions that I was working with to give some online, kind of presentations about this, but finally has not come through. But I don't. I might do it in the future. So yes, it's another option.
But part of I suppose the wholesome experience of getting into nature is really what makes it as well, and touching and feeling the plant and the environment.
Yes,
that's really what it's about, right?
Yes, that's why also I'm not really developing that part much, because I want people to really be impacted with being there,
tasting nature. So in terms of your challenges you're facing right now, you have a business, you're an entrepreneur. Do you have people working for you?
I had 6 people in the last 2 years from different programs that universities and institutions put out there for, giving an opportunity to people that are working in marketing online, or some website developers and so on. So yes, I have been having periods of 2 to 3 months a year where I was having teams between 2 people and 4 people each time. And also I do collaborations with coaches, with mindfulness specialists, with managing emotions people, So yes, I have collaborations, but I'm not having anyone hired. No. So I'm doing everything myself.
You're doing everything yourself. So you're essentially a solopreneur, is what the term they're calling it now.
For the moment, yes. There
is a whole aspect of nature, a whole division, a whole sector, and they talk about the healing power of nature. Have you considered or looked at partnering with psychotherapists, partnering with psychologists, diverting and embracing that aspect of it?
Yeah, I'm developing that a lot lately, because apart from contacting in LinkedIn mostly the human resources director, companies, sales team leader that have budget to do these kind of activities, I'm also looking for coaches, psychotherapists, experts in different fields, mostly related to emotions and personal development, with whom some of them I have already worked successfully. And today I was having 2 meetings with 2 people that are, one of them is a coach and environmentalist, and she has been consulting companies with trying to make them more sustainable. But in her deepest feeling, she was so when she was working for another company doing this kind of job, she was feeling that it was a kind of grayish area, in which she was not seeing the impact she wanted to see. That's why she has created as well her own brand, and she's doing this for herself now, Solopreneur. So yes, of course, I'm meeting with many different people, and not stopping ways of attracting more people as well to the brightness.
One of the things you mentioned was that you reached out to the Chamber of Commerce in Madrid or something, was it?
I am collaborating with or being part of it for the last 2 years, and also the Chamber of Commerce of Girona, both of them.
So that's a terrific idea, because now you're in the net. You'll hear ideas from other business people, and then you become a face and a name within the community of business people. What have you learned from talking to local chambers of commerce, and would you recommend that for anybody else? Presumably you would.
Absolutely. This was one of the first things that I did. And it has been very important because I got a couple of companies, clients from being there. And also it's a great opportunity for you to launch different prototypes and tests and reach some companies and some entrepreneurs like you and showing them what you do, how you do it. And absolutely, that's very important. Unfortunately, what happens is sometimes you just do it once, which means probably they will not repeat doing this again. Why is that? Because they have already learned the basics. They have already learned what it means to be in nature differently than before. And yeah, this year I want to innovate a little bit on that, like taking that first trip to another trip, which is going to be called Advanced Contact with Nature, something like that. I'm still working on that. And yeah, what you can see is once they have done it once, sometimes it's enough for them. So let's see how it evolves. But
well, you've got to evolve your product offerings as well, right? So you've got to think about it in terms of products. So you've got to the first step, second, third, fourth, and it'll filter out, and you'll get the real people who have embraced it and are passionate about it going through each different stage. So where are you now in terms of challenges that you're facing? Where is the business?
So the business has grown from less than 1,000 euros per month first year, like 800 was average per month, to now 1,200 per month. So you can see from 850 to 1,170, something like that, which is 300 euros a month more on average. But the reach is increasing as well, because the first year I did nothing with companies. The second year I did 7 companies. And yeah, it's evolving, it's growing. The first year, the objective was to do 12,000 euros in total, and I did 9,800. So I was 80% of the target, let's say. Second year, I was planning to do 18,000 euros, 18,000, 18, which is almost double than the real target, and I got 17,000. So I was 94% of the target. So of course I'm seeing an improvement. The tricky part of this is that it's growing really slowly. When I was in Ireland, I was in the last company that I was close to 100,000 euros. So that means my level of consumism and my level of life level has gone down by a lot. But
so your standard of living has gone down, but has your quality of living gone down?
No, the quality of living has increased immensely.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
So I'm living much more in the present than before. I'm more present in conversations and interactions with people every day. So I can add even much more value than before. And of course, I feel free, a little bit free of the system, of the before system. Not a little bit, but a lot more.
That is a big jump, Ignacio. I mean, you're talking a difference of 85,000 euros there in terms of like that for many people. That is that's going to be tough.
It's not only that; it's also the kind of the inner ego thoughts that you have, like you have always to go up and raise the scale and reach the next level and manage more people than 5. I was managing 55 people lastly there. So now what's next? 100 people and doubling the salary and blah blah blah. But I was completely seeing that this was not bringing more happiness to me at all. I was living in a fake, in a farce. I was living in a hamster wheel, and this was it. This was not bringing me any happiness. And also, even though I always put this motto from my father that think on the others before than yourself in every interaction in the corporate world, the final end of what I was trying to put out there was not reaching to anywhere. Because the system itself, which is the main framework that you have for every day, was not letting yourself be plentiful in any sense, rather than money, and acquiring more and more, and always having this lack of fullness. Every day was lack of fullness, because it doesn't matter how you do it, what are the goals you make. Everybody's going to pat you on the back for one day, and the next day they are going to ask you double. So what's the point on that? And also, what's the point on what the world makes out of this? What the planet gets out of making your targets double, or earning 200,000 a year, or 1 million, or whatever. So what are you bringing to the global value, really, on doing that?
Yeah, and plus, if you're making a salary of 250,000, 305,000, 500,000 a year, it's that you will be required to take decisions, to make decisions, to do things that will be challenging, that will challenge you emotionally, intellectually, and probably spiritually at certain points.
Absolutely. But
So
even which I have done that with 50,000 or 35,000 a year. I was doing already things that I was not happy with. I'm making decisions that were not taking people in the center.
Have you any other advice for people? So obviously you've gone from a massive, big, substantial salary, and you've been living now for 2 years. You're growing your business very well. How to cope with that loss?
Well, the most important part, apart from the physical or materialistic part and your ego,
do you think it's all ego related?
Yes.
Or do you think there's actually practical things that you... So say, for example, if you have a massive mortgage, say you have a massive mortgage and you have kids and you have a wife, perhaps you're supporting people, so maybe you're supporting parents. It's a tricky one, you know?
That's why I was saying, that's why I was recommending people to launch a prototype first and not quitting, mostly if you have responsibilities like that. In my case, I have no children. I got the divorce throughout my entrepreneurship. I was not being supported by the other person, you know. So, and yeah, I mean, stuff.
So you got divorced.
Yes.
As you're building the business.
Yes.
Okay, that's challenging.
Yeah, it is. Mostly, yeah, you know. When you give, and then when you need things, you get not supported. So, anyways, and this is related to, it doesn't matter if you get divorced or not, or what really happens when you launch something that put other people's lives are a little bit at risks in their morals, in their, you know, in their beliefs. So you feel a lot of solitude there. Because in some way, even your friends can see yourself as a, you know, oh, he's so lucky that he's doing what he likes and he's doing the way he wants and everything like that. But there is, I think there is a little bit of separation as well, because it's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but basically you feel it. You feel yourself, even in conversations that were before more in some topics, you feel that you don't belong anymore to these kind of conversations, or you don't belong to these kind of feelings or desires or objectives. So it's kind of stepping out and going in a solo train, you know?
Yeah. So all your friends are working 9 to 5. They're in tech jobs, they're in office jobs, they're in corporate jobs, and they're driving down a different road, right? And they're having conversations that you can't really contribute to that much anymore because you don't have the data.
Not even the data, is the desire to be talking about these topics. Is the I'm not feeling any inspiration on these kind of topics, you know.
So the challenge for you then is to surround yourself with people who are doing similar things.
Absolutely.
Is
Yes.
to move into the network of solopreneurs, of entrepreneurs, or people who are going out on their own to find everybody's challenge in life is to find their community.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
sometimes your community changes, right? These things happen.
Yes. That's why I got so this year we were given the recognition of being in the top 3 most impactful entrepreneurships. Prize was given by the Ministry of Labor, Industry of Madrid. And we were recognized in one of these 3 top in the
which
by the name was well-being and health. Well-being and health. So that's very encouraging, you know. And after doing that, or being honored with this recognition, I got the opportunity to participate in a sales acceleration project of 4 months, in which you are being given a place to work, co-working place. We are given relationships with other people, like you were saying now, and other entrepreneurs, and mentorships. So it's very interesting.
Well, no, that it's also very important for your own, I suppose, your own mental health.
Yes.
Your own sense of belonging.
Yes. Emotional health as well.
Emotional health. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. So what does, if I asked you this question out of curiosity, do you ever see yourself returning to the world of the office, the 9 to 5, the corporate world, the tech world?
No.
That's a pretty definitive no.
Yes. So today it was curious because so what happens is, as I was telling you, my needs per month are still higher than my income per month. Okay. So I have like 9 months ahead to really see if this is going to somewhere or not. I know I have no more time, okay, financially. So I really need to make it. But at the same time, I was preoccupied with my current situation, which was not happening before, because as I was telling you, having taken this step had made me to be in the present more than in the future or in the past, which is fantastic. But I have been sick for 7 days, New Year's Eve, I was with temperature and I was not good. So I had a lot of time to think, being alone again. And I decided that I was going to look for, in close relationships that have some companies that I was in touch with in the past and so on. I have today sent them personal messages telling them that I'm working or I'm thinking in doing a part-time job to get, of course, a bit of extra financial help whilst I'm doing the best that I can in working with them. And then keep doing what I'm doing, because mostly my work happens in free time for others, which means I can work part-time and then keep doing what I'm doing, maybe with less hours per day. But of course, it's not the same as starting from scratch as having now 2 years and 2 months doing what I'm doing. So I think I can manage being again part of the last past-time job. I can add my expertise, my experience, and now from another vision and another perspective, which means I'm not the one still thinking, oh, I should do this, I should do that, or I lost my opportunity, now I cannot do anything. No, I have done it, I have tried, I'm still trying, I will keep trying, but at the same time, I can, maybe find a fine link, a fine spot of equilibrium between being a little bit on the corporate world, bringing what I have learned as well in these years to the company, to the people, to new ways of procedures of doing things, adding some value there, and also, being more tranquil in terms of financial and living, you know.
So you believe then that the drop in salary, right? So from the big salary to the smaller salary, the 15,000, 20,000 a year, is really, putting aside the material stuff, it's really a challenge to the ego that has to be overcome.
Of course. Yes. This is not only that, this is facing your fears of finally of death, no?
But
we all fear death.
Yeah, but ultimately your father did have that huge job and did take that road, and it didn't necessarily end where he anticipated, and that's the danger for all of us, right? That you keep going down that road, and unexpected and unhelpful events occur.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay, Ignacio. Last question. What does the future hold?
So, after these 2 years and 2 months, I reached things that I was never thinking were going to happen in so small portion of time. Meaning, what I have already done is amazing, and I have impacted in many people already, 700 people. Plus a conference that I gave, a speech that I hold in front of 100 people in the Ministry of Labor of Madrid. I was invited to give a speech there, and it's amazing. So I see what I'm doing. I feel the benefit that I'm doing for myself, for the people, for the planet. And my goal is not changing in that way. So I'm going to take this to the maximum level that I can in the years that I have left, and I will find the best way to do it, to be in peace, to lead, to be for example to other people that might want to launch their own thing. And I have no doubts that at some point I will be able to live very happily with this, and organized and well placed, and bring my my part, not even my small thing, but something might be big in the future, in terms of putting the nature in the place that it belongs to, and stop people think that they are on top of nature or higher than nature, or they can control nature, or this kind of stupid thoughts and feelings that are not bringing anything positive to anyone. So yeah, I see myself in the future being a well-paid speaker, putting nature in the place, teaching people how they can do the same as I'm doing, joining forces together to bring more things like this. I'm totally sure.
Making a positive impact and a sustainable impact. And I wish you the very best of luck on that mission, because it is a noble one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio Gallo Campos.
Thank you, Connor. My pleasure.
My pleasure too.